Hello, I'm your superhero critic, and I'll stay super as long as you stay awesome. And welcome to this year's holiday festivities. My roommates, Dr. Blood and Rainbow, they're the ones that kind of specialize in horror usually. But, today I decided I want to take a look at something that's dear to me, and that's Tales from the Crypt. Tales from the Crypt is a 90s anthology show based off of the horror comics from the 70s of the same name, as well as Vault of Horror, Haunt of Fear, and Crypt of Terror. The show would last a total of 93 episodes and eventually would have 3 feature-length films throughout its existence. But the episode we are focusing on is the lone Christmas episode that ironically was aired in June of 1989. The special was called And All Through the House and is the second episode of the first season. The episode focuses around a woman who unalives her husband, and while she is trying to dispose of his body, she is attacked by a maniac who wants to unalive her while wearing a Santa. So what better way to celebrate Christmas than with a murderous Santa? It begins with the Crypt Keeper walking into his home wearing a Santa outfit, unloading his sack.
Ho, 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 kitty.
Why does that Santa mask look creepier than the actual Crypt Keeper? Holy hell, why does it look like a Cabbage Patch doll on meth? I think that is the scariest thing in this entire episode. The actual story begins with chestnuts on an open fire playing before our character Elizabeth graciously unalives her husband.
You deaf? I said let me have it.
Well, he did literally ask for it, so be careful what you wish for. Elizabeth's daughter almost walks in her stepfather's unaliving, but she puts Carrie back to bed, being happy on what she just did, before she calls her lover, who is in on the situation, as they are trying to take her husband's money. We then get a lot of scenes with Liz making the unaliving obvious, leaving fingerprints, blood, and evidence all over the house, as she drags his body outside. Meanwhile, the radio alerts the audience about an escaped convict targeting women wearing a Santa. Why does it always have to be a killer Santa for, these holiday horror specials? What about a killer Jesus? Oh, wait. Liz goes to toss her husband down the well, but he tries to strangle her in a last attempt to stay alive, but it's not long before the maniac appears attacking her. But she quickly runs in the house to try to get away. I'm sorry, I can't help but laugh at the voice that they decided to give this Santa. It's just so cartoony, it fits perfectly. Liz tries to call the cops, but realizes she could get caught and ends up hanging up on them. She then tries to find him through the window, only for him to crash through it using a tire swing. She then quickly defends herself. Looks like Santa was asked a question. Thinking she's now murdered 2 people, she uses the cops calling back and figures out she can use the psycho as an excuse to point blame. She then uses the axe to cut up her husband more to use that excuse. However, she ends up locking herself out of the house and snags the spare out of her husband's pockets. Liz calls back to fake the murders, and that's when she realizes he's not actually dead and actually asks for a cop's help, and realizes her husband has a gun in the closet. But of course her luck is as bad as an LGBT child unable to come out, as she gets locked in the closet. This is when she remembers her daughter's window is open as the naive child does what she can to help Santa in the house. When Liz finally gets out of the closet, she sees her daughter has let him in, and the story ends with him taunting her before she screams even more. The episode, of course, ends with another Crypt Keeper pun, but one of the things I do want to mention is that this is the same story that was also adapted in the 1974 film version of Tales from the Crypt, starring Joan Collins in that short. The film version was a lot faster paced, with the female lead being a lot more competent, as she actually does things like moving bloodstains around and washing everything she touched, and putting newspapers in the fire. And that was Tales from the Crypt. The thing with the franchise is it knows it is corny horror. You have to go into watching this show, especially this episode, knowing that the show is going to be corny. If you like B-rated horror, you're going to love Tales from the Crypt. I might do some reviews on the show or the movies later down the road, but that being said, thank you for watching this. Thank you for watching me. I hope everybody has an amazing holiday season, and we will see you in 2024. And always remember, I'll stay super as long as you stay awesome.